The Evelyn Mae Boswell case became an important precedent for analyzing the effectiveness of child protection systems in Tennessee and across the country. The investigation into the 15-month-old girl's disappearance revealed significant deficiencies in communication between various services and family members, requiring systematic analysis to prevent similar situations in the future. It all began in February 2020, when the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office in Tennessee received a concerning report. What was notable was that the report came from Evelyn's grandfather, Tommy Boswell Sr., not her mother, Megan Boswell. Even more concerning was that, according to the grandfather, his granddaughter had not been seen since December 2019, almost 2 months prior to the report. The case quickly attracted national attention, with the investigation characterized by inconsistent statements, numerous complexities, and ultimately, conclusions that left a community in mourning. Evelyn Mae Boswell was born on November 21, 2018, into a family facing significant challenges. Her mother, Megan Boswell, was only 18 years old when she gave birth. Evelyn's father was Ethan Perry, a young man with whom Megan had a complicated relationship. The Boswell family lived in the small town of Blountville in eastern Tennessee, a region with beautiful landscapes but also economic challenges. The family situation was complicated. Megan's parents, Angela Boswell and Tommy Boswell Sr., were divorced, relationships between family members were strained, and disagreements were frequent. According to neighbors and acquaintances, Megan struggled with consistency in her statements. Her life lacked stability. She frequently changed her residence, moving from one relative to another or to different partners. After Evelyn's birth, the situation remained challenging. Megan continued to live an unsettled life, often leaving her daughter in the care of relatives, grandmother Angela or grandfather Tommy. The exact date of Evelyn Boswell's disappearance became one of the many puzzles in this complicated case. According to various testimonies, the girl was last seen between December 10 and 26, 2019. The most concerning aspect of this story is that the official report of her absence came to the police only on February 18, 2020, almost 2 months after the child vanished from sight. The report about Evelyn's disappearance came not from her mother but from her grandfather, Tommy Boswell Sr. According to him, he contacted the Tennessee Department of Children's Services after realizing he hadn't seen his granddaughter for an extended period. The department representatives, in turn, reported this to the Sullivan County Sheriff. Thus began one of the largest search operations in the county's history. The search operation for Evelyn Boswell became one of the largest in Tennessee state history. After the activation of the Amber Alert system on February 19, 2020, an emergency notification system for missing children, law enforcement agencies launched a large-scale operation, involving not only the local Sullivan County Police but also agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, TBI. The search was challenging because almost 2 months had passed since the girl was last seen. This significantly expanded the geographical boundaries of the search and complicated the efforts to locate the child. Additionally, the number of various versions and rumors about Evelyn's possible whereabouts continuously increased, coming both from her mother and from third parties. During the investigation, law enforcement officers questioned dozens of witnesses, including members of the Boswell family, their friends, neighbors, and acquaintances. Particular attention was paid to the testimonies of people who had last seen Evelyn. According to various sources, the last confirmed case of the girl being seen was by one of the family members around December 11, 2019. However, some witnesses claimed to have seen the child later, at the end of December or even in early January. Meanwhile, investigators focused particular attention on Megan Boswell, the mother of the missing child. Her constantly changing versions of events, apparent inconsistencies, and general non-cooperation with law enforcement raised increasing concerns. In an interview with local television channel WCYB, Megan stated, "If I really wanted to run, if I really wanted to get away from my responsibilities, I wouldn't have dressed her, wouldn't have given her medications, wouldn't have done everything that I did for her." This interview made an ambiguous impression on the public and investigators, as Megan appeared too calm for a mother whose child had gone missing. On February 22, 2020, for days after the disappearance was reported, police found Angela Boswell, Megan's mother and Evelyn's grandmother, along with her boyfriend William McLeod in Wilkes County, North Carolina. They were charged with taking a BMW that belonged to Megan without permission. Evelyn was not with them at the time, but this event added another layer of complexity to an already complicated case. On February 25, 2020, Megan Boswell was taken into custody for providing false statements to law enforcement agencies. Sullivan County Sheriff Jeff Cassidy stated that Megan had provided investigators with numerous contradictory testimonies during the investigation of her daughter's disappearance, which significantly complicated the search. Megan's bail was set at $25,000, but even after her arrest, the search for Evelyn continued with undiminished intensity. On March 6, 2020, the investigation into the missing Evelyn Boswell case reached a significant development. On this day, investigators received information that led them to a property on Muddy Creek Road in Blountville, Tennessee, property belonging to Tommy Boswell Sr., the grandfather of the missing girl and father of Megan Boswell. According to Sullivan County Sheriff Jeff Cassidy's statement, investigators made a discovery that confirmed the worst concerns about 15-month-old Evelyn Boswell's situation. The investigation concluded that the child was no longer alive. This discovery brought a solemn conclusion to the search operation that had lasted more than 2 weeks, but it closed the question about the child's whereabouts, leaving open questions about the circumstances of her disappearance and who bears responsibility for it. After the discovery on March 6, 2020, the investigation entered a new phase. Megan Boswell, who was already in custody for providing false statements, became the primary focus. Investigation teams carefully collected evidence, analyzed findings, and reconstructed the chronology of events. On August 5, 2020, 5 months after the discovery, a Sullivan County grand jury indicted Megan Boswell on 19 counts, including serious charges related to her daughter's case, felony offenses, and child endangerment. Additionally, she was charged with child neglect, providing false statements, deliberately destroying evidence, and other offenses. That same day, Megan Boswell was formally arrested on the new charges. She was transferred to increased security at the Sullivan County Jail, where she remained without the right to bail. Sullivan County prosecutors, including District Attorney Barry Staubus, stated they would seek appropriate legal consequences for Megan Boswell. The case caused such a public reaction that prosecutors decided to pursue a serious but measured approach to ensure a fair trial. The trial of Megan Boswell began on February 4, 2025, in Sullivan County Criminal Court, presided over by Judge James Goodwin. The trial attracted enormous attention from the media and the public. The courtroom was filled, and outside, numerous journalists, advocates, and concerned citizens gathered, eager to see justice carried out in this high-profile case. Opening the trial, District Attorney Barry Staubus outlined the prosecution's position. Megan Boswell was responsible for what happened to her daughter Evelyn and then concealed this fact for an extended period, creating false stories about the child's whereabouts. He promised the jury that he would prove, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Megan was responsible for all charges brought against her. The defense, in turn, insisted on the presumption of innocence and claimed that the state had no direct evidence that Megan was responsible for what happened to Evelyn. Megan's attorneys, including Brad Sproles and Kelly Talbot, argued that the investigation was rushed, focusing on Megan as the only suspect while ignoring other possible scenarios. Prosecutors presented numerous pieces of evidence, including photographs from the investigation, reports, records of Megan's phone conversations and text messages, as well as testimonies from people who had seen Evelyn before her disappearance. An important piece of evidence was also surveillance footage from a store showing Megan purchasing items that were later connected to the case. Particularly moving was the testimony of Tommy Boswell Sr., Evelyn's grandfather, who described how he discovered that his granddaughter was missing. He described how he tried to question Megan about the child's whereabouts but received contradictory answers or no information at all. This moment in the trial evoked strong emotions from those present in the courtroom. Another important aspect of the prosecution's case was evidence indicating that Megan had continued to live a normal life for an extended period, continuing to post photos and videos on social media, going on dates, and socializing, all while knowing what had happened to her daughter. This, according to prosecutors, demonstrated indifference and a lack of concern. During the trial, Megan Boswell chose not to testify on her own behalf, which is her constitutional right. Instead, her attorneys tried to challenge the credibility of prosecution witnesses and point out gaps in the state's evidence. They argued that the lack of direct evidence that Megan was responsible for what happened to her daughter should lead to acquittal. However, despite the defense's efforts, most observers noted that the prosecution presented a compelling case against Megan Boswell. The combination of circumstantial evidence, expert testimony, and Megan's own behavior created a concerning picture that seemed to suggest her involvement. After 2 weeks of intense hearings and presentation of evidence, Megan Boswell's case was given to the jury on February 14, 2025. The jury deliberated for nearly 6 hours before reaching a unanimous decision. They found Megan Boswell responsible on all major counts related to the case. As the judge read the verdict, Megan Boswell remained outwardly composed, though some observers noted that her shoulders trembled slightly. She showed no visible emotional reaction when the verdict was announced. Megan Boswell received a significant sentence for the serious charges. Additionally, she received extra terms for other offenses, including 15 years for aggravated child mistreatment and 8 years for deliberately destroying evidence, which were to be served consecutively after the main sentence. Announcing the sentence, Judge Goodwin expressed his deep concerns about Megan's actions. "You committed a serious offense against an innocent child, your own daughter, and then tried to conceal your actions, misled law enforcement, and gave false information to the public," he said. "This sentence reflects the seriousness of your actions and ensures the protection of society." The case of Evelyn Boswell and the conviction of her mother caused significant public reaction. Many people gathered in Blountville and other cities in eastern Tennessee to honor the memory of the little girl whose life ended so prematurely. Sullivan County Sheriff Jeff Cassidy, at a press conference after the sentencing, stated that while justice had been served, no verdict could bring back Evelyn or heal the wounds caused by this tragedy. "Today, we can only hope that this verdict brings some measure of closure to Evelyn's family and our entire community," he said. "This case reminds us of the importance of child safety awareness and the critical role that communities play in protecting their most vulnerable members. It also highlights the dedication of law enforcement professionals who work tirelessly to bring justice in even the most challenging cases." Analyzing the Evelyn Boswell case, child protection experts identified several key areas for system improvement. 1. Enhanced interagency communication, ensuring rapid information exchange between various government agencies, medical facilities, and schools. 2. Early identification of at-risk families, developing programs to identify families needing support before critical situations arise. 3. Community education, informing neighbors, teachers, and other community members about signs of potential neglect or child abuse. 4. Reporting procedure reforms, simplifying and expediting the process for reporting missing children or potential dangers to children. 5. Psychological support for child protection workers, providing adequate support to reduce emotional burnout among professionals working with difficult cases. Implementing these recommendations can significantly improve the effectiveness of child protection systems and help prevent similar tragedies in the future.
If you enjoy deep dives into true crime, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Until next time, friends!